I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
So excited that all of you have come to join us for the grand opening of the East Side Market, the new East Side Market. We're just thrilled to have all of our distinguished guests, all of our partners, all of our community members, and all of our leaders to join us in this momentous occasion. This is a very important occasion because it represents the culmination of endless hours of hard work, collaboration, teamwork, and a tireless effort to make this dream a reality. And there are so many people who have come together to make this a reality, to bring this dream to fruition. You'll have an opportunity to hear from each and every one of them. We're thankful that you're here, we're excited that you're here, and we know that the new East Side Market is an amazing community resource for the community. Not only are we able to provide access to healthy and nutritious food, but also through specialized health programming, through Neon's Wellness Center, through the community room that will be available to everyone, as well as to the demonstration kitchen where we will be able to provide information on how to prepare healthy meals. We're excited about all that. We've waited a long time for all that, but the wait was certainly worthwhile. It gives me great pleasure to present to you the President and CEO of Northeast Ohio Neighborhood Health Services Incorporated, President Willie F. Austin, who has led Neon for many years as it provided comprehensive health care services to the community. And not only has he led this organization, but he has poured into it his passion for the community, for making sure that everyone has an opportunity to receive high-quality health care services. And his efforts have been rewarded. Neon now is one of the oldest community health center networks in the country, celebrating 52 years of service to the community. Right. And in addition to that, Neon is one of the largest community health center networks in the greater Cleveland area, having more than 7 locations, a dental van that goes out into the community. We have an in-school program that allows us to render services to our students, as well as many other outreach initiatives that we can undertake to make sure that all of our communities are taken care of. And not only that, the success and growth that Neon has experienced has been monumental. However, our President Austin always felt that Neon could do a little more because he understood that the services that we provide within our clinical services, while extremely important, are only a portion of the equation that goes into impacting the health of our residents. He had a clear understanding that the conditions wherein our community residents live also have a significant impact upon their health outcomes. President Austin typically drove by this location on his way to work. And he reminisced and he felt like, you know what, somebody needs to do something about that organization. being the man of vision that he is, he decided that he would step up and that Neon would take the lead on bringing the new East Side Market back to the community. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to present to you President Woodley F. Austin. Please welcome him.
Thank you for the welcome. I don't know what more I can say except welcome to you, because all my thunder's been stolen. Not only have the reason for us sponsoring this East Side Market been covered, but the why. And all I can just simply say is that it is correct. Literature supports the theory that physicians can only provide some 10 to 20% of the cure that ails the human body. So we have been taking care of the physical for a long time. We've been blessed to do that. And I thank the Reverend for reminding me of the verse in Scripture that was the first that as a child I memorized, the 23rd Psalm. And so I think the Lord has been a true blessing to me by allowing me to be with Neon really for 52 years. But I started when I was 10 years old, so that's how I've been able to do that. But yes, the socioeconomic determinants of health then represent that other 80%. And so having been involved with the physical as a part of the community, then there was the need to become involved with the community in those other areas, meaning jobs, housing, food, the nutritional part is why we have the kitchen in here, designed to not only teach you what to buy, but how to prepare it so that you get a healthy meal. And I think that's just as important to health. So that's one of the parts. We have other plans in development, housing and so forth, that we'll get to eventually. But right now I don't want to steal the thunder of the East Side Market. So I thank you for coming and enjoy, and what we really need is your support. The community said we need it, we try to be responsive. Now the community's got to prove to us that it's a needed product by coming and using it. And if you do that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, President Austin. Now, as I mentioned earlier that it really took a large number of people working as a team to bring this project to fruition. The next person I'd like to bring up is the developer, and he heads up Business Development Concepts Global. And it's Mr. Arthur Fain, who worked tirelessly with contractors to help put the vision of the East Side Market together. And with all of his efforts combined with our partners, we were able to have today's event. So with that, please welcome Mr. Arthur Fain.
As the late Councilwoman Fannie Lewis would always say, let me give honor to God, who's the head of my life and who keep me doing the things that I do. I would say thank you for coming. This has been a long and tireless project. It's been a hard project to develop. Not saying that it's one of the first, well, it is my first commercial project that we developed. So it took a lot of people, and it took people that knew how to design, people that knew how to put the hammer to the nails. We started out with our architects. I think Scott Whitley and Whitley. I see the fathers and the brothers is here, his uncle. And then it also started out with Wanex Architects, so they came together to put the vision together as our development team started to tell them the kinds of things that we would like to see in this particular project. And it started with a vision of wanting to do an economic development project. And this is a pure economic development project in the sense that we have 64 people that are hired inside of the grocery store, 25 full-time and the rest part-time. And they're from the neighborhoods. So you got them from Ward 7, you got them from Ward 8, Ward 9, and Ward 10, and the council makes sure that there are people getting the job, trust me. The other thing is that we're going to be hiring close to another 20 people when this side of the building get open. All right. But this project spurred other economic development projects. Capo's Cheesesteak came to me and said, are y'all really going to do the East Side Market? We said, yes. He said, well, I'm going to open up my cheesesteak company behind it. So that's a restaurant. It's a fast food restaurant. 5 jobs. We found out that Huntington Bank wanted to come to the neighborhood when they found out that we were going to anchor here. So that's another 15 jobs. Somebody do the math for me. Then we also found out that a competitor said, well, if Neon is going to open up there, then we can open up there. And Mr. Austin oftentimes say, gosh, why would they open up there? I said, well, we did it. We spurred the economic development. So, and they brought another 30 jobs, I do believe. So close to 100 and some odd jobs. Let's give this a hand. Close to 100 jobs were created because of us doing this. But as we started to travel down the path, and I'll let Jeff tell you about the history of how that got started, but I do know that I had a number of occasions, to talk to the mayor about this particular project, and he, in his own way, like he always do, offer his wisdom to me and tell me some of the challenges that we're going to have. But he also said that you guys are going to need more money, and he put his team together to give us more money. Also made sure that we pay rent for $1 a year. I think we late this year, though. $1 a year. Then through economic development, he said, well, let's give them a tax abatement. So we got 75% tax abatement for 15 years. And I say all of that because all of that is noteworthy, and all of that is needed for us to do and keep these doors open. The worst thing we can have is a grand opening and a grand closing. And when we look at the residents, I see the residents that come through here and they're smiling and they're glad that they don't have to get on a bus to go buy a banana, and it really makes my heart feel good. But when we started to put this together, I saw Brad about 5 years ago, and said, Brad, why don't you come and join us in doing the market? So we had to create an organization called the New East Side Market LLC that owns the market, not the building. And that is CIS, which is Neon Company, and BDCG, which is the company that I'm the president of. We came together, Neon did the loans, and we promised to pay back 45% of the loans from our company, and CIS will pay back the other portion so that Neon is not stuck holding the barrel. But at the end of the day, it really, really is incumbent upon the residents to help us to be able to shop here and spend your dollars here. Because the more your dollars are spent here, the more jobs are able to stay here. The more food, fruits and vegetables and fresh fruits are able to be delivered and sold here. This store have an opportunity to really be a catalyst for this corner and this community, and we are so proud to be a part of that. But in addition to those aforementioned, we also had the councilmen came together. At the time, it was Jeff Johnson, Kevin Conwell, and Forensic came together to oversee and make sure that we're getting the support from City Council, and the council president too. He really played a role in that. But there's been some gnashing of the teeth. We went back and forth with each other. Sometimes they wanted to cuss me out, but me being a Christian, I didn't want to cuss back. but it's been some times when they'll call me late at night and say things like, when is the market going to get open? When is it going to open? This market, we started out with about a $3.5 million budget. But it turned out to be a over $6 million budget. And if you look at the people that we hired to do the design, it's close to $7 million. So it's a real tough project, and we were able to pull it off. But the key thing about this market is the people, that not only who we serve, but the people that work here. I've met some of the finest people that has had the opportunity to come through the doors, from the guy who keeps the place clean. Isn't it clean? Yeah. I mean, when you look at the old East Side Market, it had a smell in it that stopped people from coming. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure was that the market stayed clean. And Stan, I don't know if Stan's around, he may be around here with a broom in his hand, but he's always around keeping it clean. So we want to keep it fresh because we call this your East Side Market. But I'm going to ask Anthony to come up for a second, and I'm going to have Angel to come up because our students, and if you know that I have a nonprofit called 4Kids, so young people is very dear to my heart. I found out that we not only have next year's valedictorian, but we have this year's valedictorian working here for Glenville. Let's give her a standing ovation, everybody. So her name is Angel. And I was talking to the councilman one morning, and I read her story. Her story is that her mother suffered from schizophrenia when she was 3 years old. She went to live with her aunt, her 4 brothers and sisters, or 3 other brothers and sisters. They all got split up. She lived with her aunt until she was 7 years old, and her aunt died, right? Grandmother died, and then now she lived with her aunt. But to come through that and to be the valedictorian, we thought that was very noteworthy. It touched his heart to the point that he's going to announce that he's going to give her a $1,000 scholarship. And I'm announcing that the first New Eastside Market scholarship will be given to Angel, $1,000. So we're matching that. I'm going to let Aunt talk, and then I'm going to have her say a few words.
You see how, you know, he and I talk because he called me Aunt. Right. Not Anthony, Councilman. But nonetheless, again, I'm Anthony Harrison, Councilman of Ward 10. And as Arthur mentioned, that when he came to me with her story and came to me about the great work and the strides that she had made and the trials and the tribulations she's had to overcome in order for her to be where she is, I was truly amazed. We oftentimes hear those other stories in our community, right? Those who have had the 4.0 and lived the best house and the best life and everything, but we not often hear those stories that were, you know, not quite there, right? And so I thought it was important that, you know, as part of my mission and part of our community's mission is that we support this young lady and her endeavors as she go on to better herself and help and better her family. And so Arthur reached out and said, Councilman, we'll match your donation, your scholarship by $1,000 as well. And so we'll be providing a $2,000 scholarship to Angel for her to go to school. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I am greatly appreciated for all of the donations that have been given. I promise that I will continue to go further with my schooling and I will give back to my community.
Okay. She said she got to go back to work. She got overtime today. She was scheduled to come in later. I told the staff, let's get her some overtime so she can come in now. But in addition to those that we talked about, Whitley, Albert Higley was the construction company, and then we had Crescent Digital that did all of the technology. There's 58 cameras in there, and there is, we can see you wherever you're at. In fact, we saw a couple people taking things out that they shouldn't have been taken out, and we got their picture. And so, how you doing? Okay. So the point of the matter is that we want this to be a safe place for you to come. We want to be a place where you can sit and talk, a place where you can have meetings, a place where you can get all the things that Mr. Austin talked about. And we just want to acknowledge all of those that has helped us, and we thank you from the bottom of our heart, but we ask the residents, this is all about you now. This door stays open as much as you bring your dollars here. And I know that in order for a community to have true economic development, a dollar got to turn around 7 times. And this could be your first stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fain. And your words and the words of Angel and Councilman Harrison really put a face to what this is really all about. You know, when we can make a difference in the lives of a young person, in the lives of our community residents, in the lives of everyone who comes across our path, that's when we know that we're making a difference. So, again, I just want to give everybody a round of applause for being involved. Thank you. And so one of the words that was mentioned today was history. And so the East Side Market has a very rich history within the community. And here to share with us the history of the East Side Market, along with an overview, is former Councilman Jeff Johnson, who has a strong passion for the Glenville community and for the city of Cleveland. He will be joined by Brad Rosselet, who stepped up to bring this market to our community. Would you please join me in welcoming former Councilman Jeff Johnson and Mr. Brad Rosselet.
First of all, good morning. Yeah, morning. I'm doing history because I'm old. serious. Let me ask, how many folks here, other than Mike Polenzek and myself, and maybe you, Conwell, was here when we actually cut the ribbon in 1988 for the East Side Market? See what I'm saying? Love it. I wanted to make sure that continuity is the theme that goes throughout all of the effort here. There was 19 years that we had the original East Side Market, and that was a vendor booth approach. We, at the time, wanted to do a little smaller version of the West Side Market. It lasted 19 years, and toward the end, we started having problems, one of which, as Arthur said, started being a sewer smell, for example. And I want to acknowledge, though, for 19 years, we were on this corner providing meats and vegetables. We also had there, I left in '89 of December, then Bill Patman became the councilman of the East Side Market, and then Sabra Scott became the council person. And I reached out to her last night. I told her I was going to do a shout out for Sabra because they kept it going for a long time. And then in 2007, it closed. And when it closed, it stayed closed for 12 years. I became a councilman in 2010 on my second tour. And I remember looking at that closed building, and I remember the joy I had along with other folks when we cut the ribbon back in '88. And you know, it's not easy bringing grocery stores into the inner city. You know, that's against the grain. It's usually them leaving us. I've been here long enough. I grew up in this neighborhood. I remember Pick and Pay. I remember A&P. I remember Finest. I remember Fisher. I remember all of the grocery stores that we had. And then they all began to leave. And then we started losing drugstores. Mr. Brown over in Uptown. Remember Uptown? That was the only drugstore we had for a long time, and they left. And so back in the 80s, we began to push for things, and we got to Glenville Plaza first, and then came the East Side Market. Now, I can't take credit for the original East Side Market. The story goes, it was supposed to go in Fannie Lewis's ward, and then George sent Fannie Lewis to China on a trip, and while she was gone, they shifted it over into Glenville. It was supposed to be. True story, Michael? True story. So it fell in my lap. I can't. But I appreciate it. I love Fannie, but she left town. When you know, we got it. So, and we had it for 19 years. Politics is interesting in Cleveland, I'll tell you that. And I just wanted, in 2012, I decided I was going to give the best I could to bring back a grocery store into the Glenville area. We had a dollar store that came and wanted the building. I said no, and they moved across the street. We had a clothing store up, and I said no to that. I wanted to hold out hope, and I worked with Mayor Jackson's economic development director, and we did a few things, and we weren't able to grab any interest. Then I talked to Arthur and Mr. Austin, and we put it together. I should say they put the deal together. I just said I'd help with the politics. And then at that point, Conwell took over the area, and then Kevin stepped up, and then Mike Polenzek, the three of us got together and said, we're going to work this out together. And so the three of us got together in 2014, and we worked, and there have been some up and downs. This was not easy. It took 7 years to get to where we are today, but we got here. So I do want to thank Mayor Jackson, his administration. I want to thank Councilman Conwell, Councilman Polenzek, who jumped on board and dreamed with me. We've got Councilman Zach Reed here. He was a big supporter in City Hall, and Councilman Eugene Miller. And then we also went out and reached out to Councilman Anthony Hairston, who was a county councilman at the time because we needed county money, and Councilwoman Yvonne Conwell. And then Bill Patman, who was a state rep, brought us some money from the state. So it takes a village to get some of this done. And so the history is that it's been long, hard fought. We were determined to get it done. And from '88 to where we are today, this is persistence, this is commitment. Now we have to sustain it. And I also told Arthur and Mr. Austin, we got to make sure we have a diverse team. And I just want to, you know, Whitley & Whitley is an African-American architect firm that's worldwide known. And we wanted to make sure that we had the best to do the architecture. So the Whitleys, twin brothers, stand up, and Scott's somewhere around here. I want y'all to stand. This is Whitley & Whitley. I want y'all to know. All right? Don't talk about doing projects and you don't have diversity. We don't play that. And so we brought the best, and then there were some other folks as well who came on board. So I just want to, I'm taking a little time because I feel pride about what's happened here, and I also want to acknowledge Councilman Eugene Miller is here as well. And let me just say, let's shop here, let's sustain it, let's 20 years from now be happy again that we put this day together on 2019. But for all the ones who believed in this, to all the ones who kept calling me, Conwell, and Polenzek and said, where's our grocery store? Didn't you get them calls? For all the folks who kept pushing us in the community, asking a fundamental question, why don't we have a grocery store? And that kept me going. And now we do. And not only that, Mr. Austin and Arthur brought something else. They said, we're not only going to bring you grocery store, we're going to bring you a healthy environment. So we're going to bring a health clinic. We're going to bring a demonstration kitchen. We're going to show folks that they only have to cook. They don't have to cook with Crystal Oil. I grew up with my grandma's chicken with Crystal Oil, and I'm still here. But we can still make things that taste good and are healthy, so y'all can stick around a little longer, so y'all can enjoy a little bit more of this. God bless you all. I'm so very proud of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Councilman Jeff Johnson, and to all the council people here. We really appreciate your efforts in working jointly with our administration. At this time, it gives me enormous honor and an enormous privilege. Oh, Brad. No, come. Before I move forward, let's go ahead and let's give him a hand.
Good morning, everyone. So on behalf of the 64 employees that are inside that building, I just want to thank everybody for being here today. And if you haven't, how many folks have not been in the store yet? Over the last 3 months? Okay, just a handful. So I'm going to go real quick in terms of history, but my first meeting was September. It'll be 6 years ago. And Arthur pulled me, we were in the bleachers in Ravenna, Ohio, at a JV football game where my son was trying to play some football out there. And so that was the first discussion we had about it, and then many breakfasts and on over the last 6 years. So it's, as everyone said today, it's been an incredible journey. I feel blessed to be part of this, to be in this community, and everybody inside the building as well. You know, we're integrated into this community, so we absolutely are part of it. And from today's perspective, everybody's seen the mailer that went out this week? So real quick, a dozen ears of corn for $4. Spare ribs, 99 cents a pound. Baby back ribs, $2.99 a pound. Whole watermelon, $1.99 each. That won't continue forever, but at least through the holiday weekend. We've got a lot of good things happening in there, and we're going to continue to grow. And I'm here full time, so if you see things that you want changed, or you've got positive, negative, whatever it might be, reach out to me, please. Feel free. So thank you all for being here, and continue to support us. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much, Brad. We certainly didn't want to overlook that, because that list that you just mentioned makes your mouth water and makes your wallet smile. So thank you very much. From the very beginning, Brad has been committed. He has been there each day to make sure that this community had a market. So thank you for that. Now, I got ahead of myself, but now it is with great pleasure and honor that I introduce to you Mayor Frank G. Jackson. We are so honored to have you here with us today. On January the 2nd of 2019, Mayor Frank Jackson was sworn in for his unprecedented fourth term as mayor of the city of Cleveland. We're so excited about that because Mayor Frank Jackson is a native son. He's a lifelong resident of the Central neighborhood. He was educated in Cleveland Public School System. He attended Tri-C. He also attended Cleveland State University, from which he received his bachelor's, master's, and law degree. He began his career as an assistant city prosecutor. He was city council president, and of course, he is mayor of the city of Cleveland. Mayor Frank Jackson has done an exceptional job leading the city of Cleveland, and it's because of all of his efforts toward transformation, towards innovation, that the city of Cleveland has received not only nationwide recognition, but worldwide as well. And we attribute that to his tirelessness and for his passion for the city. The mayor, under his leadership, has accomplished numerous achievements in the areas of improving education for our students, for ensuring that our students are successful in college, for improving the health of the city of Cleveland through his Healthy Cleveland initiative, for all of the investment that he has put forth within our neighborhoods to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to have a high quality of life and to be successful and productive members of the community. Mayor Frank Jackson is an exceptional leader. He is a true visionary, and he is a good man who loves the city of Cleveland. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mayor Frank G. Jackson, the Honorable Mayor Frank G. Jackson.
Good morning. And how are you this morning? Good, good. You know, I want to congratulate all of the council people who have touched this project over decades. And as former Councilman Johnson said, it's been quite a few council people who've been involved in this at one point or another. I want to especially congratulate the current councilperson, Councilman Conwell, and particularly the Glenville community and the people of Glenville. So congratulations on this opening. And thank all those who made it possible. As Mr. Fain said, these kind of things just don't happen on their own. It takes a lot of work and hard work, and we get to cut a ribbon, but doesn't really speak to the kind of work and the depth of that work that has to be put in to bring forth a successful project, particularly in areas where normal investment tools and development strategies just don't work. And so you have to be creative about the tools that you use and really have to put the thing together in a way that will ensure that it does work. Now, this project is unique. Is unique in its history, as pointed out by Mr. Johnson, that it started off as a model after the West Side Market. But as you know, things change. Things change, and if you don't adapt to those changes and you don't meet the new needs of those changes, then what you do will always fail. So this is an attempt to put together a project that really meets the needs of the Glenville community. And that is not just a replication of the West Side Market, but a grocery store, full service grocery store, but also a health clinic. That is a unique and is something that is that the time that we live in and the needs of this community really dictates. So I want to thank those who were involved in having that vision. So again, congratulations to everybody, particularly those in Glenville, and thank you so much for making this happen. I have always forget these, by the way. I have a proclamation. I believe it's Mr. Fain or Mr. Austin, or maybe the two of them. Yep. And this is a proclamation from my office in recognition of the grand opening of the new East Side Market. So congratulations.
Let me say thank you to the mayor and to the city of Cleveland, but I'm going to give it to Mr. Austin because I need to get out of the way of my elders.
That was a cheap shot, but I'll accept it. Yes, I'm 78 years now, and I'm proud of that. And I'm also a vegetarian since 1973, so I know a little bit about health. Interestingly, this wasn't my profession, and I never intended to be in healthcare. In fact, I swore when I was a child that I would never set foot again in what was then Newton E. Baker Building because I had had a bad experience. But I always tell folks that the Lord has a sense of humor, and you should never say never, because what He has in mind for you is not necessarily what you have in mind. And so all my careers, when I look back on them, the things I did, He was preparing me for health care. So when I finally got here, I said to myself, well, okay, you didn't want to be here, but you're here. So you had a bad experience. Now you have an opportunity to make sure that others have a good experience. And so that's been what's driven me for, I said 52 years. I only get credit for 50. Come September 9, 1969, that's when I first went on the payroll. But I was what they call the grants manager when these programs first started as a part of the Lyndon Johnson War on Poverty. So just a little bit of history. Some of you know about it, some of you don't, but you need to know that everything has its origin. And so I just thank God, because you never know where your paths are going to go. And in fact, the mayor here has been a patient of ours back in the early days. And I can say that this organization has employed thousands and thousands of individuals, hundreds of thousands of patients. And so we've touched a lot of lives. And now we hope to touch even more through this Eastside Market. So thank you. And I won't belabor, but I really enjoyed seeing the faces. You all look great. You look even better when you're walking through those doors.
Thank you so much, President Austin. And again, that is just a testament to your commitment and dedication to ensuring good health for all of our residents. And again, we're talking in the theme of partnership. We have a number of our Cleveland City Council members who are here today that I'd like to call forward for all of their diligence and all of their hard work. I'm sorry. Absolutely. President Austin would like one more moment.
I apologize. The mayor says he often forgets, and things like this, I'm just not accustomed to being put in the limelight, and so I forget these kinds of things too. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the mayor for this proclamation.
Thank you so much. Definitely. So at this time, I'd like to ask if Council Members Kevin Conwell, Council Member Michael Polensek, and again, if you choose, Council Member Anthony Harrison would please come forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very, very much. Thank you very much. Where's young Anthony at? Here he comes. You know, Councilman Johnson, when I first, they redistricted the area over here, and I became the councilman in this area. Woo, man, Imani, we would receive out of our 60 cars a day, at least 1/3 of the cars. We don't get the East Side Market open. We don't get the East Side Market open. And they were joking, saying we would never ever get the East Side Market open. And it had been closed, as you mentioned, for 12 years. For 12 years. And when you and I sit down and talk, matter of fact, to be truthful, to tell you the truth, and to be honest and candid, me and this guy, we were gonna go blows to blows over the East Side Market. Here's the referee behind me. I told Jeff, I said, meet me outside, man. Meet me outside. Ain't no chairs to be thrown. Meet me outside. Then it's gonna be a fight. And then we got together. Mike stepped in because it was all about the residents, all about the people. You know, the place had been closed for 12 years. And something I want to say that's real touching to me, very, very touching. A lot of times people come to us and they have, and it's really, really, really true, they have agendas. And you have to try to figure out their agendas. I mean, all the time there's agendas. Mr. Austin, when I was talking with Director Karen Butler, I mentioned to her, I was going there to see about people getting jobs. Because you guys have hired a lot of people from Glenville and in the neighborhood with jobs. A lot of people so they could take care of their families. And people see the councilman all the time. They want jobs or whatever the case may be. And I mentioned to Karen in my conversation, I said, you know what, about Mr. Austin? He's never ever talked with me about anything about himself. And the whole piece was about people and the residents, and that they need a grocery store over here in the neighborhood, in the community. It was no murals up for him, no plaques for him, anything, everything was all about you. Did I mention that to you? And then when we talked, Karen and I, when we talked about us, we got the community room, a jazz community room, and then she stepped in before I got finished trying to pitch for this jazz community room. Director Butler said, Mr. Austin. And then I called Arthur Fain, that room should, because he is about family, community. That room should really be named after Mr. Austin back there. And that room, Miss Bonner, is where where Martha at? I don't want her to know. But we'll host our Thursday meetings in the community room back here. We just won't tell her, so she won't, keep her mom's the word. But we should name that community room after you, Mr. Austin. We should do that. Yes.
We just did.
Oh, y'all just did? Oh, you must have made it back during the hookups already.
We just did. It'll be the Austin community room.
He is so modest. He is so modest. I'm telling you. He's just like Mayor Frank Jackson. He's so modest. He's mainly a technician. He's a technician just like the mayor. And I say that because the East Side Market is also, there's more to come. There's more to come. When instead of me doing the trash thing that you talked about, the mayor just helped us to bring in a streetscape on East 105th Street. East 105 have not been done since 1978. We're talking about resurfacing the streets. We're talking about bicycle lanes. We're talking about curbs on East 105 that would lead straight up here. And we're talking, Ms. Bonner, millions of dollars. I can't get that from picking up trash. Because if I do that, then Anthony Harrison would take it and it'd be like the East Side Market with Miss Lewis. I gotta watch the money. Or this guy back here. I gotta watch the money. You gotta do that. And then the mayor also helped out when you see the buildings being built on 105. That's a beautiful thing there. We have more. The best is yet to come. We're working on bringing other buildings on East 105th Street. I'm in concert talking about Volunteers of America to bring them here in the neighborhood. They will help us out also on East 105, where jobs will be there, where people could take care of their children and raise families. And that's very, very important. And when that happens, they can shop at the East Side Market. Isn't that true? They can shop here. He just mentioned all these jobs. When people have jobs, they can take care of their families and they can shop at the East Side Market. So we're developing that. And the mayor also put aside, have a meeting on Tuesday. We're going to build 40 new houses. 40 new houses in the Glenville community. And when you build houses, there's more to come. When you build houses, it's like peanut butter and jelly. Businesses follow rooftops, man. They follow rooftops. So I want to thank you for that also, Mr. Mayor. And he's also set aside a grant for $700,000 to $1 million. Right now, when you pass, and it's going to come straight down this way, here, you were with me, Leon. When you see these guys rehabbing homes, he gave Community Solutions dollars so that we can put roofs, because he said, you know what, Councilman? I'm tired of seeing tarps on top of these roofs over here in the Glenville community. So they're modest and they're technicians, but me as the council member, I have to write the legislation and the policies, so when you call me sometime, I have to be there. I have to be there. If not, then one of these guys gonna take it. Just like Jeff Johnson just said with Ms. Lewis. So I want to thank Mr. Austin, and I'm glad that the community room is named after him. This guy has no agenda. He's a straight pure. No agenda at all, as well as the mayor. I'll yield, because I can go on and on, to Council Member Anthony Harrison, the young guy is looking at his watch, and then Council Member Mike Palisa. I'm gonna run back here with the music here right now, so I gotta do what I gotta do.
Good morning. When you have Conwell up here, you need a hook from the Apollo to get him off of you, okay? I want to the Honorable Mayor Frank Jackson, to Mr. Austin, to Arthur, to my distinguished colleagues, Councilman Conwell, Councilman Harrison, my former colleagues, Councilman Johnson, Councilman Miller, Councilman Zach Reed, and above all also to Brad and the family from Mazzulo's for this wonderful day we're having today. You know, this is like a homecoming for me, because I was born over here on 120th between Sellers and Oakview, 427 East 120th. And I can remember, so I want to say to my colleague, my friend Jeff Johnson, when he rattled off the stories, I remember the giant tiger that was here as well, okay? Yeah. And I can remember Grandpa bringing me over to the giant tiger. I used to love coming to the giant tiger, okay? And the old firehouse that was here. Because 105th and St. Clair was like downtown when I was a kid. You had 5 Points, 152nd and St. Clair, then you had 105th. If you couldn't get at 5 Points or here, the only other place you went was downtown. This was downtown, east side downtown right here. So I want to say to all of you who are gathered here how appreciative I am. But this was a long process, as you heard. And you know, you ever watch those fights on TV when a guy says, "Let's get ready to rumble"? That's what I felt like many a time between my colleagues trying to referee because of the passion they showed and their commitment to help this project come along. And I want to also say to Jeff, what kind of brother are you? What's wrong with Crisco, man? That's what I want to know, okay? I was raised on Crisco, okay? So, long time coming, the support of Councilman Harrison, not only at a county level, but when he became councilman of Ward 10, working as a team. As you've heard before, as the mayor said it and others, this didn't happen overnight. There were times, I tell you, I didn't think it was going to happen. But through the perseverance of Neon, Mr. Austin, Arthur, Brad, his team, and you know, when we found out, and I learned it was going to be Brad was going to operate the East Side Market, I went out to his suburban locations and looked at them. And I can tell you right now, this store is no different than what he has in the suburbs. No different at all. Nothing, no difference. So we have a quality market here in this community which is so deserving. I hope within a very short period of time to see this as another downtown in the Glenville community. I also want to recognize, I see the Honorable Mayor of Bracknell here, Mayor LaCastro. And members of City Council. And I want to say that when I've been shopping here at the market, I've seen Mayor LaCastro in here at the East Side Market. So thank you for coming. I see former State Representative John Barnes in the back. John, another dear friend of our community. So to my brothers and sisters, I want to thank again the mayor and his staff and his team, because without their financial commitment, this project wouldn't have happened. I can tell you without any fair contradiction, it would have never happened. So when people come together, you can make a difference. And you will make a difference. And all I can ask you all, you've all heard the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't support this market and the other businesses in this community, we won't have them. And there's nobody to complain at that point except ourselves. Let's support our neighborhoods. Let's support our local businesses. Let's build our neighborhoods to what we need to do. Thank you. God bless all of you. And I want to present Anthony, come on up.
Thank you to our honorable colleagues and former colleagues, to the mayor. You know, and today we've heard a common thing that it took teamwork. Teamwork. This didn't happen because of one individual. Maybe the vision and the money did, right, initially. But altogether, it took teamwork to get us all here today. For all of us to be able to walk through these doors and pick up some quality, fresh produce and foods on these shelves, right? So again, I'd like to thank our Honorable Mayor for his commitment to administration, to the county officials. Again, you've heard that I served as the county councilman prior to coming into city council. It was a pleasure myself, along with my former colleague, Yvonne Conwell, who, along with our president, Dan Brady, and the executive Armin Budish, who, with Mr. Austin, took a chance on our community. And let's thank Neon again for taking a chance on us, all right? Because had they not took the chance, we could have ended up with a clothing store. We could have ended up with another dollar store. But we ended up with a high-quality grocery store for us. A high-quality grocery store. So what we need you all to do, for those, I saw a few hands who had never been in today, and so we're gonna watch you go in today, all right? All right? And for those who consistently come here, those who may only been here a few times, we need your help. We need your help to spread the word that this is the place to be. Chester's fine, but this is better, because this is our neighborhood. Unfortunately, in 1989, I was only 3 years old, okay? So I wasn't a part of the initial birth of this market, but I am humbled to be a part of the rebirth. In 2019, 32 years old, to be a part of this witnessing of the grand opening again of this new East Side market. So thank you all for your support. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. And we now, I believe, Councilman Conwell, we're going to recognize with the resolution to, come on, get up here. I had to make sure his boss was here to pick him up, right? Come on, that's right. Go ahead.
No. You can do it. You're young. We got to work with the youth.
So on behalf of the City of Cleveland, resolution of recognition from council members Kevin Conwell, Anthony Hairston, and Michael D. Polenzik, by council members Bishop, Brady, Brancatelli, Cleveland, Griffin, Johnson, Jones, Casey, King, Kelly, McCormick, Santana, and Zone. Whereas the members of Cleveland City Council are extremely pleased to join with the Glenville, Collinwood, and surrounding communities as they celebrate the grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony of the new East Side Market on Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. Be it resolved that the members of Cleveland City Council are extremely proud to be a part of the East Side Market historic renovation as they serve the citizens of Glenville, Collinwood, and surrounding communities with a healthy style, full service grocery store, as well providing health and wellness center, a community room, and a teaching kitchen. Be it further resolved that the City of Cleveland Clerk Council be and she hereby requested to transmit a copy of this resolution of recognition to members Kevin Conwell, Anthony Hairston, and Council Blizzard for proper presentation. And so without further ado, again, we present to you a resolution of recognition to Neon and to all of those who helped make this possible today. Thank you.
Make your hands full, Mr. Austin.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, Mr. Austin and I, in putting together projects such as this, we talk about 3-4 times a day, and each time we talk, we're always trying to find solutions, but it's always about the people. I was cut from the cloth to being the, I guess you could say, the protege of one Fannie Lewis, but when Fannie and I, Miss Lewis, my mother in Christ, went to Mr. Austin in 2002 and talked about a partnership for Huff. And inside of that partnership, when Miss Lewis passed away in 2008, the next day I was in his office and I said, wow, Mr. Austin, what are we going to do? I guess our project is fizzled. He said, God say go into all of the world. So here we are in Glenville. And we sat down and started talking about projects for people, and we got a lot of projects on the table. But any type of recognition, from proclamations to resolution, I'll tell you, you would never find a more humble person than Mr. Austin. And God bless him. I love him to death. And I know he loved you just like he loved me. Mr. Austin.
Mr. Austin?
Don't know what to say except thank you. It did take a lot to get to where we are today. A lot of sacrifice, energy, time, money, but I can't think of a project that was much more well worth it than what we have in Backless here. And if I had to make a choice, I'd do it all over again. So I think when I was growing up, there was a tradition that when you open a business, you frame your first dollar and you put it on the wall. Well, we didn't do that. So I think it'll be with great pleasure that we hang this instead.
You know, Mayor Castro, you want to say a few words? While he's coming up to the podium, my wife, County Councilwoman Yvonne Conwell, cannot make it. They are in executive sessions. Armin Budish, County Executive Armin Budish, and the other ones, they're in sessions right now. Yes, yes. So I do want to acknowledge their support. They brought in $750,000 for this project, and they were in on doing the heavy lifting also. So when you see her, Mrs. Bonner, tell the wife I did mention it and thank her for it. She's going to ask me. I'm going to get back here and kick it with the band real quick. I dig doing that too. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, John LaCastro, the mayor of Bracknell. The Reverend mentioned this is a great day for Cleveland, a great day for Glenville. It's also a great day for Bracknell. The number one question I'm asked is, where do you shop? We can now say you shop at the East Side Market. This is wonderful. We have supported this. We will support it. We wish you great success. And thank you for the vision of putting what we've all needed in this area, a grocery store. So good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor LaCastro. And one of our favorite phrases that we use at Neon is teamwork makes the dream work. And that could be never truer than today. And we also want to acknowledge the tremendous support that we have received from Congresswoman Marcia Fudge's office. And here to represent her is District Director, Mr. Clifton Williams. Let's please welcome him.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Congressman Fudge, who's in D.C. with votes today, congratulations to the entire team that made this grocery store possible. The Congresswoman is a member of the House Committee on Agriculture, and as a member of that committee, she's committed to making sure that all communities, regardless of zip code, regardless of socioeconomic status, have access to fresh, healthy fruits and vegetables, good quality produce. We know that here in the city of Cleveland, 56% of our residents live in a food desert. And we know that no longer Glenville has to worry about that problem because we have this wonderful new market right behind us. So we thank everyone again for all their hard work. We know that this place not only will provide the access to the fresh fruit, but also provide the health center to make sure that your body's whole as well. So again, on behalf of Congressman Fudge, thank you all for being here today. Thank you for everyone who had a part in this project, and we look forward to continuing to work with you all.
3, 2, 1.